is Mike Ciccone. This is the REI in Southside. It is January 6, 2017, and tonight I'm going to be presenting on a phenomenon that occurred several years ago during the winters of 2014 and 2015 called the Polar Vortex. So we're going to open with a video of Lake Arthur as it appeared during the middle of the 2014 Polar Vortex. Temperature is about 0 degrees, wind chill probably 10 to 20 below. You can see the spin drift.
January 29th, 2014, I'm up at Lake Arthur. It's about 15 degrees, maybe 10 degrees. It was below zero last night. The lake is frozen. You can see all kind of spin drift blowing across the snow. Here it is in the middle of the winter.
Is the end of that. So what happened during 2014 and 2015 was actually sort of an unusual result of global warming and climate change. I mean, it appeared to get significantly colder here, but most of the world was actually a lot warmer than normal, at least in recent history. Part of the polar jet stream broke off and went into the eastern part of North America and lasted most of the winter during both the winter of 2014 and to a lesser extent 2015, caused much of eastern North America to be 10 to 20 degrees colder than normal, and I don't think the snow was particularly heavy, but what happened is the Great Lakes actually froze 92%. Lake Erie was close to 100% frozen during the peak. More picture here from NASA. It's kind of hard to see because it's a small picture, but yeah, Great Lakes are frozen. So now we'll get on with the pictures. 2014. We have here is Presque Isle State Park. Back in February of 2014, I went to Presque Isle State Park after going on my annual cross-country ski trip to New York, and I saw that Lake Erie was frozen completely over. Pretty flat ice there. There's the city of Erie. The only difference is that this ice was 2 feet thick, and it went the entire way across the lake. You could have driven a semi-truck all the way to Canada. You got here is ice dunes, which are a relatively common occurrence up on the Great Lakes, but they can be dangerous. They're hollow, and a lot of times there'll be water underneath, so they always advise people to stay off of the ice dunes. I didn't exactly obey those rules in 2014, 2015, but yeah, normally I definitely would, but there was ice that was really deep and thick. There we are looking out onto Lake Erie toward Canada, just this solid expanse of white. If you looked at the satellite imagery, it would be white. Here's my cross-country skis that I used to explore the ice and frozen waves next to an ice dune. Some of these are 10 or 15 feet high.
Wait, Mike, those are chunks of ice.
Those are pieces of ice and snow that are stuck together. So here you're looking out at the lake. Here you got that.
What? That's not Lake Erie, is it?
Yep, that's Lake
Well,
Erie.
that's Lake Erie.
Yeah, this
Wow.
was 2014, 2 foot thick solid ice all the way to Canada.
Oh, that's, I remember. That's the year
Yeah.
Niagara Falls froze.
That was the year, yep.
Yeah.
And you got these things that, where it's been pack ice and it's been pushed together and then refrozen, so there's pieces that stick straight up. Beautiful glass-like formations and just, I mean, incredible stuff. It's like being in the Arctic. Now I'm probably an eighth to a quarter of a mile offshore from Presque Isle State Park. Now it's interesting luck into Presque Isle State Park. I didn't need to park in the park, but I did, and I cross-country skied around the lake once
Oh
a night.
shit! They closed that road off.
Yeah.
The only road in.
But there was the road, actually the sidewalk was about 3 feet of snow, and they cleared that, and I was able to drive down the sidewalk and get out of Presque Isle State Park. So if you work for the state parks, I'm sorry, but I had to do what I had to do, and now I know better. So we're just looking more out at the lake.
I actually had that happen to me so much cabin one time when I found a way out. I forgot they closed that gate.
Nice. Yeah, they.
Good evening.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah. Nice. And that's some people. So here are some animal tracks. I'm not sure if that would be a coyote or I can imagine a dog.
That's Lake Erie, if you can imagine.
Is it?
I can't, man.
Not right now.
No,
It's
this
not
was
right.
2014 when it was the peak of the Polar Vortex, when it was 2 foot thick ice all the way to Canada. And went up there and cross-country skied around Presque Isle State Park twice in 2014 and then again in 2015. And this was just, these pictures are all from just this
Okay,
bird.
the duck's out of water there. Or goose
Just
or
a story about this bird. So this bird was not doing so well. He looked like he needed some help, so I tried to pick him up. But he pecked me. See, he pecked me, so I couldn't help him. So I mean, I bet that poor bird died, but yeah, he was stuck out there.
He couldn't fly.
He couldn't really fly, and I saw him out there, and I'm like, well, maybe if I bring him to shore, he'll be like okay. But he was, like any bird would be. He just pecked me, and I'm like, what?
right. He doesn't know you're trying to help him. I mean,
so I'm
Did
just
you
so
have
sorry.
special
Bird.
skis that you did on the ice, like the icy snow?
Yeah, what I have, well, they're cross-country skis, but they're really cheap, and they're like $30. They're not quite exactly, I guess, backcountry skis. I'm not sure what the definition is, but they're wider than normal, and they let me balance on the ice and climb on the ice, and they were sturdy, and I was able to get up on some of the bigger waves.
but by the way, dude, this is Michael. I'm
hi.
Jason. This is Matt. We're all from the Explorers Club too.
Oh,
Thank
are
you.
you? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So yeah, and
Mike
then
was
I'm
kind enough to do this presentation.
and
Yeah,
I'm-
I kind of just want to hear like
No
what
problem.
where cross-country skis
Sure.
are.
Yeah. So I'm making a video too. So like, just so you know, but it'll go on YouTube because a lot of people told me they wanted to see a video. So I was like, well, if they can't be here.
Can't believe the formations are incredible. I like that.
The ice is blue and different colors, and I mean, just
It's like
Almost looks like something you'd see for like a earthquake, where tectonic plates are shifting and you're gonna, crack a volcano.
yeah. You have the pressure bridges and a lot of things that are very similar. It's ductile, forces. There's just a big overview panorama.
Wow.
So like, how challenging was it to ski?
Yeah, how was that?
That was it was equivalent to the Rachel Carson challenge to go around the entire peninsula. When I did that, I was sore for 3 days.
How many miles was
It's
it?
about 13 to 16 miles. And the one time I was actually being blown like an ice boat. The ice was really slick. There I am looking through a
So
wave.
could you get traction with your skis on that?
Yeah, you can get traction. Sometimes though the ice was really slick and you would actually start blowing, like the littlest bit of wind, and if you didn't hold yourself in place like really hard, you would start moving.
Ice skating.
Yeah, and the ice boats were just zipping by.
Oh, you did see the ice boat.
I saw them out there, and I was hoping hopefully they saw me. Apparently they did, because I'm still here. But yeah, it was different. And I remember in 1989, my parents taking me up to Presque Isle to see a frozen wave, and it was one frozen wave, and I'm like, does that really happen? Well, there were frozen waves everywhere. I mean, times 100. So you have these areas where, I don't know what you call it, pack ice or something, where it's a lot of broken and rough ice, and then there's areas where it's actually stacked up,
And wait, what year was this?
This would have been 2014.
Okay.
These ones were in
It
February.
was last winter. It was too hard.
Last winter, yeah, it was not so good. I went around the beach, but I didn't go on the ice at all last winter because there was no ice.
It makes sense. If Erie looks like that, it's also why Niagara froze.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
so that's just a little further north. And they had ice. That's the
beautiful.
sunset. The sunsets up there are incredible.
That's
You would
great.
see, I mean, if it was 0, 10 below, there were photographers out there with tripods and stuff, but they were all standing on the beach. I was like, heck, I'm going out in that
Did you
stuff.
come across any ice fishermen like on the base side? or?
On the inside part, on the outer part, there was practically no one there. I tried to set up some meetups. Nobody wanted to go. I'm like, this is the most ice that's been there since 1979. I was born in 1980. I'm 37 today. But so I'm like, I
So
gotta
really,
do this.
Erie hasn't looked like that since.
Not since,
Wow,
yeah, because
25
it was,
Wow.
overall the Great Lakes were about 92% frozen, and this was at least it was in the 90. It might have been close to 100%.
I remember right. I remember they were reporting on that, right?
There's where I'm climbing up a wave, so you can see I kind of had to sidestep and different things. This might have been 8 or 9 feet high. They kind of look like big icebergs, and then you could ski down the waves on the side, you know, where the wind and snow is blowing up.
You know, that's right. One more thing that you keep saying, like it's just registering. That's
There's
actually
one.
great.
So look at that thing. That's probably
It's
8 or
actually
9 feet
frozen,
high.
yeah.
It's all heaped up. You could go in between them and gnarl. I mean, and this changed from the ones in 2015 were in a different place. Like there might have been more of them, and I mean, it's just every time that it freezes, it's going to be different. Okay, well, sunset.
Did you talk to any like the local rangers or anybody from Presque Isle up there, Mike? Did they have any?
Nah, you know what? I did talk to someone because I went into the Tom Ridge Center and they had pictures. There's something weird going on with the sun, and they were of ice dunes and different things. And I said that I had similar pictures, and they said that maybe they would be of use to that, but I never followed it through. I imagine they could be of interest to the park. I'll have to see.
I was wondering if anybody else had your idea. This is great. I never would have thought of, hey, I can go up to Presque Isle and skate on.
Like, and the
Erie.
first time I went there, like, I just knew I was going to make a presentation on it. I'm like, this is so incredible. Like, I'm going to keep coming back here. And this one, so this, okay, now we're back. So we have another, so that was the first instance where I went there. Let me see. Oh, I should get it over here. This one would have been, jump to 3, slide. This is cross country skiing around Presque Isle about a month later.
Okay.
Let's see, you'll see. Okay, so this is what I saw when I went in March 9th. It was still plenty frozen. There's a girl out there chasing the white swan. Now these white swans, I don't know if they were tundra swans or what kind of swans they were, but they were everywhere. There were hundreds of them up there. They were even in North Park. I mean, I don't know. Those seagulls were in North Park. All the birds were displaced that winter because they just had nowhere to go. There was nowhere for them to get fish or anything. It was all frozen. Yeah. So it may have been. There was more sun and all that.
Are those your tracks, Michael?
There's some tracks. Yep. So this is an area I normally kayak this route at least once every summer, and I mean this is like the same places where I would kayak. Here's some. A little bay area. There's Erie. There's my picture.
That's all natural park, or?
Well, it's the state park, but only when you're actually on the land. Where I'm at right now, you could get to from Erie, and it's actually like Lake Erie Bay, this first part, or Presque Isle Bay. So that part is the state park over there, a little bit north of where I'm at. And Presque Isle State Park, I think, is the most visited state park in Pennsylvania. It probably gets about 3 million visitors a year, something like that.
Wow.
It's comparable to a national park, yeah. And it's not a very big park. I mean, it's like 1,600 acres, but you think of Lake Erie and what's around it, but that's not actually the state park. So you got like a little rift here, I guess, where it dropped. Yeah.
I was thinking like a mini crack in the ice there.
So this is
whoa.
So here's some areas. So this is why you have cross country skis. So when you get to a soft area on cross country skis, and this did happen to me, your skis will drop slowly down, and you have time to react. Now,
if you would feel comfortable.
Yeah, I actually was around there, and I could tell if it started going down a little, I'd be like, okay, I can get out of there. I mean, you can use cross country skis as a rescue device, because if you ever look at the ice alls and the different things, they pretty much look like cross country skis in a cross shape. So that's why I recommended, you go out there with cross-country skis, because not only will it distribute your weight, but in the instance of something bad, you can rescue yourself or someone else. There's Perry's Monument. Here, go and see. Okay, here, this area was open at this point, so there were times where this was frozen, but this is the inlet where all the boats come from Lake Erie into Presque Isle Bay. Would be the eastern end of the park. They haul up some of the sand too, and they put that back on the beaches in that area. There was an Army Corps of Engineers base or something here, and I think I might have, when that was like that, I think I might have gotten through
So
there or
this is
something.
so this is actually at the same exact time, and some of that was frozen, and this is
So this part wasn't, and
Right,
this is just
that's
that
wild.
one part, like where it's like where you go into the lake. So what I ended up doing is
Okay.
taking some trails on the state park land to cut across. One of them was called the sidewalk trail, and what they did is they got me across through the what you call the not the bayous, but like the back. Yeah, the
yeah, they
swampy
do have
areas.
that there, right?
Yeah,
right.
so then I kind of got back
Sanctuary
in there.
or something.
I was probably in some places you don't normally go, but yeah, there was just nobody back there. And I was
Did you come
like,
across anybody on this trip at all?
No, I didn't really see anyone except when I was in the intersection. There were a lot of people inside. I mean, people with their families. Everyone was out on the ice. It looked like a scene from like the 1600s during the little ice age, where like the English Channel was frozen. Like it was, people weren't thinking anything about it. Not just the ice fishermen. So here we got the ice dunes again. This is on the outer part now, so this is where I call the dynamic, section here. So there's the lighthouse. And this was happening all over the Great Lakes. I mean, Lake Ontario, Lake Superior. I mean,
Right.
everywhere.
I remember
it's just
that.
we were close enough to be able to see it just here.
Okay, good seeing you.
Yeah, see you guys later. All right.
All right, see you tomorrow night.
You got
Yeah.
me properly psychologically geared for Mount Washington now, seeing all the sights.
Yeah, Mount Washington. I drove up there on the way here. I'd like to do that.
Was there snow there?
Snow where?
I'm thinking about Mount Washington.
Oh, the real Mount Washington.
yeah,
Oh my
that's
gosh.
what I'm thinking. I
Oh.
bet there's snow there.
Yeah, I'd like to. Oh yeah, I'm thinking, oh no, I just drove up there and I wanted to get here. I would love to do that.
Okay.
I'll see you later. Yeah, I didn't take mountaineering school, but I've done some pretty crazy stuff, but not so much in the mountains,
Right.
just kind of on the lakes and stuff. So there you got it. It's kind of cloudy, sun peeking through.
So you were mostly out on the lake.
Mostly, yeah. So that's where the best pictures are. I did the entire some other lakes too, and I'll show those. See how long we're going here. The smaller lakes were not as impressive, but they were pretty
So
interesting.
Lake Erie is about 2 hours away.
From where I live, it's about 2 hours.
Right.
And they
Yeah,
tend to have more snow up there than they do down there.
they do. Yeah.
I just tell Mike. I just drove through there this past weekend. Monday to last. Actually, Monday it was incredible. We had
Wow.
nothing. They had 2 feet.
And I was in Moraine State Park and they had nothing. So this one is kind of neat because there's the ice dune and there's the moon. And I don't know, this projector isn't so
That's
great.
an ice dune.
Yeah, and that's
Wow.
the snow and the ice and the rain and everything gets in there and just forms this mangled thing. Yeah, it's just so crazy. Little circular things. There's like what you had that year was ice rollers. Some of these actually look like shark's mouths with like teeth hanging out. The icicles would start melting, especially toward March and stuff.
Why do you call it what's an ice roller?
So the ice
Okay.
rollers are like when you see I'll show you pictures later, but there were like toilet paper roll things like on some of the lakes. What would happen
Oh,
is
okay.
some of the snow would melt a little bit, and then it would snow again, and then the wind would blow. It was this really strange set of conditions, and the snow would start rolling into a snowball.
Okay.
And you had these
Kinda like
ice
this big
rollers.
bill
So
with the
it's
hay
really
and
windy out there on the lake.
Yeah. So now we're back there. So when we get to
So you've never been to Presque Isle then, or like?
I did, so I just
Oh.
moved back here 4 years ago. I
Nice.
was in Massachusetts where we skied
Oh,
all
okay.
over.
Oh wow, right.
oh
And we always
yeah.
had, and if you didn't have snow in our town, you could go like 30 minutes north on the mountains and there was snow.
That's kind of like it is
Everything
here.
was
It could be.
Is there groomed parks around here to ski in?
There are in the
Oh,
Laurel Highlands.
Ridge.
there are.
Laurel Highlands.
Yeah, or else you have to go way up north, but it's not much further. This one is the last one in 2014. This was like 8 days later. I decided to do it in the opposite direction.
Wait, that was just 8 days
This
later.
was 8
It
days
melted
later,
that
so
much.
some of it melted, and what you got is now some black around the ice dunes.
I know.
I mean, this just looks like a beach. I looked at these pictures and I'm like, it almost looks like the Bahamas or something. I'm like, except it's cold.
I was going to say it's a
Yeah.
little bit colder.
It was about 12 degrees that day, and I actually, the story about this day is I drove up to Erie and I didn't have any gloves. My gloves had worn out for the winter because I had been out so much, and you couldn't buy gloves because all the stores had to stop selling their winter
They don't want to get
merchandise.
stuck with it, right?
So what I ended up having to do was go into a garden store in Erie and buy garden gloves and put the hand warmers in my hands for this adventure.
Yeah, this is 12 degrees. Yeah. I
Yeah,
can
and
see that.
12 degrees. I brought my food in a backpack, and for some of these adventures went into the night, and I just like sat down on the ice like somewhere out in the lake, and just like with my headlamp, and just like ate and like kept on going.
It's probably pretty.
Yeah.
You guys are really exploring.
When you're, yeah.
That's him. That's him.
I like to explore places that aren't there for very long. I like to see them before they're gone. It was amazing. And then, I mean, I went to school to be a geologist, so right now I'm actually learning to be a hydrogeologist that deals with water, so I'm always fascinated.
I was going to say, that makes sense, what you're studying, what you're showing us, that makes...
Yep. Let's see, there we are inside one. You could sit in here and, like, you know, just have lunch or whatever. But you can see, so when you look
there's
at
Jaws.
What you can see here, these are why they tell you to stay off the ice dunes, because a lot of times they'll be like this. It could be completely over, like you might not see this side. It might just be one big lump, and you could fall right through.
You can see that right in the mountain.
Yeah. There's where the teeth form, and that's, yeah, because the sun in the, when it gets to a higher angle in like February and March, it starts to melt everything, and it could be 12 degrees, and then it like refreezes instantly, so you tend to get all those icicles. This was really slick ice here. This was
great, like ice skating.
really melted, yeah. And this day actually is probably the best pictures I got in terms of the variety of ice that I saw, because you can see boundaries, and this looks like it might be thin or whatever, but this is 2 foot thick. This is solid, clear, black ice. There's a small wave, and you can see out in the distance there's other waves.
So you never had any worries at all, like, but despite the change in ice, you knew you were good.
So
right?
once I like, I always test everything out a little, but then I went a few times and did like progressively like a little more, like, and then I got the idea that I'm gonna do the whole thing after I had been there doing like little putzing around a little, so I was ready. But yeah, every time that our work would get canceled for it being too cold or whatever, or we'd get called out of work early that winter, I had my cross-country skis in my car. I always keep them in my car in the winter, but I just go off to some frozen lake.
It makes sense. You get a chance to run up.
Get out there. Yeah. These were on the weekends. I mean, if I went in the week, it would have closer one. There's your little crack right there. But what there is there's actually a website. You can look up, it's NOAA, I think, or National Ice Dynamics site, and you can see the movement of the ice, the thickness on all the Great Lakes. So I would use that website a lot when I went up there, and usually not long after March 16th, when this was done in April, you started seeing some movement and some signs that it was breaking up. So that's how you knew. But if there was no movement,
were they able on the websites? Were they able to give you the depth of the ice?
Yeah, they had like, I don't know what you call, like isoplus or something. It was in centimeters, but it was up to 60 centimeters on Lake Erie, which is 2 feet. And you know, as it started to warm up, you'd start seeing that thinning out. But it was the end of April before actually into May before the ice was gone.
Wow, that lasted down. Yeah, that was pretty.
What ended up happening is that climatologically Erie didn't have much of a spring because the ice from the lake kept their temperatures down far below what they should have had.
Okay.
And in turn, that's what caused a lot of the seabirds and everything to be displaced, and that are supposed to be on Erie. They were in North Park, and they were in Robinson Township. There were seagulls flying around the parking lots, and it was kind of strange. So that's big wave. Oh, this big wave is way out there, maybe a half a mile. And I looked at that, and I'm like, that looks like an iceberg. And so I'm like, I'm gonna go see that.
That's actually a wave?
That's a big wave.
That's a wave. Wow.
That was probably 9 feet high. So here's the thickness of the ice to give you guys some perspective. My skis are about 3 inches thick. This is before it completely froze, and some of it broke up and kind of refroze. So you can see that's over a foot right there, and it's embedded in something that's even thicker.
And your skis just tracked right across there?
They just went right over there, yep. $30 cross-country skis used. I got them from the Butler Outdoor Club, and they're incredible. Here's something strange. I mean, you got these little patches. I don't even know what you call that.
Yeah, I just saw pictures.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
And here I am getting close to that big frozen wave. I'm like, going to climb up that thing.
At this point, how far out from the shore are you?
I went out as far as what I would estimate to be a half a mile. I always kept the shore in sight. Yeah, and actually at night, there's so much reflected light from the city of Erie that you almost don't need your headlamp even a half a mile out.
I believe.
Wow, that was
I believe that.
It just, it's like an orangish glow. So, yeah. I'm getting around toward I like to call this going around the horn. I'm getting toward the outer end, close to where you go in the Bay Area. Yeah. So I started early enough that day that I point, like all the snow had melted, but the ice was still there. And that's what it looks like. And it was just so, because it was cold that winter, but there wasn't an insane amount of snow. It wasn't like Snowmageddon, like
It was just cold.
yeah, like the winter 2010, I believe it was. We had insane amounts of snow, but it wasn't nearly as cold.
It's fine with these last couple of bare winters. It's hard to imagine,
Yeah.
right? It being that cold to make that.
And what you kept seeing in the weather forecast was it just kept going below zero, and then it would warm up a little, and then it would go below zero. And it's like we go below zero on average once every 3 years, and it just, I mean, there were like 14, 15 days where it was below.
Something like this. What is that? It looks like a sand pyramid.
Oh, this is here, a sand pile. So
Wow.
Presque Isle, we actually studied this in my geology class, but it has a lot of beach erosion, and they're trying to keep it there. So in addition
They
to all
stockpile sand.
the jetties and all that, yeah,
Yeah.
they replenish sand a lot in the spring. Here's the houseboats. Had to go in and check out these houseboats. I
It's wild.
seen
They're frozen in the ice.
Right.
stuck in that
They
ice,
just
yeah.
leave them there frozen in the middle of the ice. That's
They're,
cool. That's so.
They're inside the park. They got grandfathered in because they were there before it became a state park. Now here are the swans, along with some ducks. I have a sound recording of the swan somewhere.
So that is not frozen because it's moving.
No, yeah, it's moving, or maybe the birds. I mean, maybe they're moving around enough that they're keeping it open so that they, I kind of wonder how much birds
It's
affect.
funny though, since that's the inlet side. I'm surprised that's not.
But like, see this, like I got on the ice like right here. I mean, you can see it's open there, but it was plenty thick right here. And then
Sure.
as I went that way, it got thicker. But because my cross country skis, the tip of them would give me plenty of warning. I mean, you'd have to stand there a minute and a half to go down.
Okay.
I could judge that. Yeah. And so this was at sunset. This was really slick ice. This is where I started sailing like an ice boat. And my knees, what it ended up being is my legs, my arms, everything was sore for 3 days after because I was using so much energy
I can see
to keep myself from blowing out of control fast. And it's just incredible. They always have, in my opinion, the best sunsets in the state up there. So there we go. So now what we should look at is some of the other lakes.
Like say IRC, say we went up to like a groomed cross country
Yeah.
ski place, Michael.
Uh-huh.
Would you say the energy you expended to do this be a lot more than?
Oh yeah, it was so much more. Like
So
I mean, if
even
I
then,
did,
you're in deep. Okay.
yeah, if
deep
I
snow.
did like the 15 miles there, I'm guessing it had to have been equivalent to 20 or more. I mean, I've never even done anything like that. I felt like the Rachel Carson challenge,
Yeah,
and it was
working
like a
that hard.
6-hour thing. Yeah, and I do like 50-mile runs and all that now. So what we have here now is 2015. Okay, this is the what I like to call baby polar vortex winter. Because the second winter it was pretty cold. These are actually looking at Moraine State Park Winterfest. One of the years it was so cold that when they had the Winterfest, the Butler County Winterfest up in Moraine State Park, the Pirate Parrot was out on the ice on Lake Arthur.
Okay, so now we've left
Yeah.
we've left Presque Isle. We've moved down to Moraine.
No, yeah, Moraine State Park, where the
Wow.
ice was 16 inches thick.
That's Lake Arthur.
That's Lake Arthur.
Wow.
And this is when it was this was when it was first starting to freeze up in 2015, so it got, more frozen. And I did have ones from 2014 for that, but the better ones for this lake were.
Have you ever been to?
When I was little, we sailed that lake all
Okay.
the time.
Right. I've only seen it right with sailboats. I've never seen
We
it.
were on a catamaran on that lake all the time.
Right.
But I've never seen it in the winter. No.
I've never seen it frozen.
I've only been on the sail.
Oh man, so.
Like I've been up there, but it wasn't cold enough for
No,
Lake Arthur
I've
to
never
freeze.
seen it in the winter.
No, I mean it's.
I set up an end-to-end ski trip with the shuttle one winter, where we actually did the length of Lake Arthur, and then we had vehicles at different ends, and I had
Man,
like
a
7
snow
people
dragon.
show up.
Nice.
Some ice carvings. That's they did the Butler. They did this actually just the last weekend, and it was kind of sad because there was no
There's
snow.
nothing. There's no
Yeah.
snow. It's not frozen now.
It's not. No, there's nothing there.
Well, that's the amazing thing. Lake Arthur's what? 45 minutes,
It's-
almost an
it's
hour
not,
north, and yet
far,
from Lake
but-
Arthur to Erie, it's night and day. It's
Yeah,
and they're
there's
both,
such
I
a
know,
huge difference.
Such a huge difference. It's
No, we're 1 month later. Now this is February 2015. This was an interesting hike. My friend Steve Smith set up this hike to cross country ski on Lake Arthur. So someone is actually going with a kite out there. What happened is it was about 40 degrees, but there was still plenty of ice, and
Wait, they have a kite, and are they on skates?
I think they're on skis or something. We never got super close. This picture was taken zoomed out like
Kite
30
skiing.
times, but they were
Kite
going
skiing.
around
Oh,
on
you
a
see
kite.
them in the water, like they
Yeah.
have those kiteboards, but
It
I
was,
bet that is kite skiing.
I wonder
that's
if-
wild. They
I
must
wonder.
have adapted to kiteboards.
Right.
Yeah, you can't really get much better.
I've never seen that. I've seen those guys wakeboard up there, kiteboard.
That's Route 422, so that's the highway. Well, a lot of
Yeah.
times what you'll see is this will be melted under here, and my theory is that the road salt probably gets in there and melts that. The rest of the lake will be fine.
concrete probably too.
Yeah. We got a whole.
Whoa.
Okay, so this is my friend
It
Randy
doesn't look
here.
that thick there.
He's demonstrating how you check the ice. I'm like, will you please pose
How
for
did
the
he make
picture?
that hole? How did he make it?
That's an ice fisherman hole. So
Oh.
that's I still
He just
don't.
put his hand down in it?
He did. You don't have to do it that way. So usually I use my cross country ski
I was
pole.
gonna say, why not this?
Yeah, but this guy, he's funny. So
It doesn't look that thick there.
it was plenty
Was
thick.
it maybe 8 inches? 10
Yeah.
inches?
What happened though is it was 40 degrees. So by the end of this trip, there was all kind of water on top of the ice.
Oh.
It wasn't a threat because the base ice underneath was still there was
Right,
plenty of good.
right.
But
Just
it-
water surface or
You know, and it was coming through.
Yeah.
So it was kind of slippery. Yeah. Well, I don't know what I think I'm like looking through a hole in the ice or something. Yeah. It's not like. You know, it's good, like where we are. It's getting real slick now. You can see it's starting to melt. There's he's the guy that led this hike. There I am. Not this lady. This is the lady that wants the video on YouTube. So. Let's see. There I am, and we made some snow walls out
That's
there.
interesting.
Yeah. So we went on to the little island.
So how often the rain doesn't freeze in the October?
Moraine Lake freezes more often. I would say every 2 or 3 years on average it'll be like this. It's a little more frequently, but it's not usually more than 5 or 6 inches. Like this winter it was probably maybe 10 or 12 inches, and the previous year it was 16 inches.
Really? You think it got even with this mild winter, it froze that much?
No, not
No,
this
it's
one.
not-
This is
it's
last
not
winter.
frozen yet.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
right,
is still 2015.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So we'll let me show you. So I went into some of the remote parts of the lake. I think this will be it here. There's like Muddy Creek area. Yeah. So this was a hike that I tried to do as a meetup hike, and nobody came. So I went myself, and I said, well, we're going to go on the trails, and we're going to go across the lake, and we're just going to go wherever we feel because the lake is frozen. And it was at sunset, so it was an after work thing. So I just started exploring one of the more remote parts of the lake. This is
And
up,
that's all frozen.
yeah. So this would be up 528 near upper 528 boat launch, I think it's called. And there's 2 little arms, actually 3 of them. The lake looks kind of like a spider. I built this little snowman
that's great.
up here.
Looks really smooth.
It's smooth, yeah. A little hole right there. I'm gonna get an ice auger maybe by next winter, hopefully, so I can check my own ice, and then people will know that I know what I'm doing. Because a lot of times you get hassled by, not in Allegheny County at least. If you try to go out on the ice, you'll get hassled by
Is the auger like a hand drill?
police and that. Yeah. So that way, if I go on the ice, they'll know that I know. You know.
Because it means you got to carry it out there with you.
Something. I mean, I guess. I mean, because I always just go north. I don't bother going on the ice in Allegheny County, even when it's thick, because every time I've tried to go on North Park, even when the ice fishermen are out there.
It's been a while. I've been out there raccoon on the
Yeah,
ice.
so-
Raccoon when raccoon's frozen.
Yeah.
And they got the shacks out there fishing.
But it's like, yeah, I don't know if you have to have your fishing license to be there or what the deal is.
I don't think you do the ice fish. Or I'm not sure. What is?
So I'm going into Muddy Creek. You could actually follow some of the creeks up out of the lake a little to a certain point, and then eventually the moving water got to where it wasn't. Here's a snowmobile trail. So follow that.
That's actually an established trail. Oh, I know what
That's
that is.
Like
520. Yeah, I know what
like
that
on
is.
the other side over 528. So I crossed from here over to here. This was all like right at sunset, probably 5, 6 o'clock when it got dark. I don't care if I was out there in the dark. Let's see. I might put in some. Oh, here's some other ones. This one is called a different lake. This one is Lake. Oh gosh, I can't remember. Gallitzin State Park. So I forget the name of the lake, but I had an opportunity to go out
Where
there.
is it?
It's in East Gallitzin State Park.
Is that the one up by Lindbergh, PA?
Windber, yeah, I think so. So that would be like Blair.
Johnstown,
Would that be
Windber.
Blair County, maybe? It's so
Could be
maybe
Blair County.
2 or 3 hours east of here, in the mountains, kind of past the Laurel Mountains. And it's a long, like U-shaped lake. I had a job interview, so I was out there anyway. So after the job interview, I just went on the lake and saw what I could see. But,
How big is Presque Isle State Park's lake like compared to Lake Arthur?
that lake is smaller. I mean, it's
Okay.
maybe a third or a quarter if I had to guess, because it's a narrow, long lake. But Lake Arthur has 42 miles if you go around the circumference.
Oh
of
my
it.
goodness, I never would have guessed that.
Yeah, that's why it took me 7 different times to go to Lake Arthur to do the
42
whole
miles.
Has little fingers
circumference.
that come out of it.
Yeah, it's like a big
yeah,
spider.
I never would have guessed that either.
Here's where it starts to go into one of the tributaries, I guess. It's like once I saw it was up at Presque Isle, eventually these lakes got kind of boring because all the state park lakes started to look the same after a while. But there were a few of them where I wanted to do them all since they were close. This one I didn't get to see at all. I just did what I could.
She thinks there's nobody around.
No, nobody thinks to go out and check this stuff out, which just amazes me. Or people ice fishing.
They're just afraid of going out on frozen. I know I am.
Yeah. So this is neat. Yeah, the stuff shows up really good on the ice. Someone threw this little orange. What I'd also see on Lake Arthur a lot is balloons. When people send up their birthday balloons, it seems that a lot of them fall on Lake Arthur when it's frozen. And so I'd see these random
They were still
balloons.
inflated.
They were deflated, but when they finally fall out of the sky, they land on Lake Arthur. Or they land in the middle of nowhere, and that's, it's just like, oh, I found an old balloon. There's where it comes in. Killbuck Run. That's what that's called. Alright. Pretty sure that's what it says. I was able to go up there a bit. Now last winter I did something I wouldn't recommend, but I went on the Clarion River up near Clarion, PA, and actually there was 5 inches of ice or something on that, but I'd never do it again just because there's a whole different risk factor when you got moving water underneath, because if you fall in the lake, I mean, it's terrible, but you just come out the hole. But I'm like, after the fact, I'm like, oh no, I might not be in
So
the
you
same
thought
place.
that was dangerous.
Yeah, and well, after someone told me I was completely crazy when I tried to do a trip up there and nobody came, and then I was hoping that nobody would come after that, and I felt bad. But I mean, I did get some pictures and do it once, but I wouldn't do that again unless I was in Alaska. Yeah, somewhere funny, good. Okay, here's the lake, the shape of the lake. Let's see what the name of this lake is.
Go back up into your right. There's a name.
Did you see
Up back up into your right. There's a Glendale Lake.
Glendale Lake. Okay, it's Glendale Lake. Okay, so I know why I took this map. So this is where I explored on the lake. I drew a line around where I went. I didn't get to go and see the rest of it. This is in here. There might be one more set. There's just so many. I couldn't even. Maybe that's all. Let's see. James. What's this? have even been the earliest one. Oh, I went up after, that almost looks like a bird coming down, but even the snow is just what it does is amazing. That's why I kept going there. I went and did these other lakes, but this was just the most amazing. So there's that. What you get too sometimes in the ice fans is the sand will blow in there too if you're close to the shore. Now this one is Lake Chatauqua. Lake Chatauqua, unlike Pennsylvania, you're not allowed to do this in Pennsylvania, but they allow snowmobiles out on the lakes because their ice freezes a little thicker. So I was able to follow the snowmobile tracks, and they made great cross-country ski tracks. Sure.
You never felt like you were in the
No, there weren't that many. Or I mean, the lake is so big that they were just like wherever they were. They just left the tracks and went away. There's my friend Donna. She and I usually walk to Moraine State Park about this time of year, and afterwards we'll look for good ice if there is ice. Snow came and kind of blocked our view a little while we were out there. Yeah, that lake is so big. Like, I mean, I would have to take like a month to go around Lake Chatauqua. It's just so massive. We just stayed in this one little tiny section that was like off to the side. Maybe we were out there now. Now that this one goes back to Presque Isle.
Nice to see you guys.
All right, nice meeting
It was
you.
great to see those. It was
Nice
nice
meeting
being
you.
over
See
there.
ya. Yeah, this is basically, it's pretty much what you've seen. It's just in the box. It's of these pictures, check out my Facebook page. Scroll back through the photo albums to the winners of 2014 and 2015 and check out some of the adventures I've been on.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Michael.
Mike Ciccone. You're welcome. Thanks, Jason. For
Thank you for coming and putting this on.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Okay, so now I will stop.
I'll probably